Welcome to the Fight Night Daily podcast. We're already deep into Eubank Benn fight week. We're here back at the Pelican, this domed edifice on Canary Wharf. Myself and the Omen, Spencer Oliver, and we are here. The ring behind us. It was a catwalk yesterday with, I believe, Conor Benn making his way with his giant entourage to the ring ahead of the showdown between the families on Saturday night.
Yeah, listen, rivalry that goes back 35 years, isn't it? You know, they are their father's sons, and it's captured the imagination for all the reasons that we know, going back 2.5 years, and we finally get the fight now, and it's as big, if not bigger, than it originally was.
It's so much bigger than it was. It's got the investment of the Ring magazine and the Saudi Arabians, the Minister, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, the resonance of a drugs testing dichotomy, the hearings, the procedures, the fallings out, the slapping of microphones. You know all these stories. The Spencer Oliver drawing down on Conor Benn where they can't even look at each other anymore. This is the workout that we're expecting in a moment. Thomas Treiber behind us about to announce Conor Benn. What are you expecting? I've just been upstairs with Conor Benn having his hands wrapped. What are you expecting from him?
I don't think we'll see too much from him now. Listen, reality has kicked in. Time is getting close now, as we know that, you know, that then the temperatures rise for so much for these two fighters, you know, because it is a massive fight, a fight of magnitude, a fight that is steeped in history. And you're going to see Conor Benn now. He'll have that fight face on. He'll be ready. He's got the reality of what he's really going into now, attempting to jump up 2 weight divisions to defeat the guy that defeated his dad all those years ago.
The funny thing is, this happens on these big fight weeks. The intensity of Conor Benn yesterday, going upstairs and seeing him having his hand wraps, the looks he's giving people, the energy that he's giving off, I'm starting to sway towards that X factor that he's bringing into the fight, even though I believe that Eubank is the favourite. There he is, he's circling. Let's turn around and just have a little look at what he's going to show us. I mean, he looks in phenomenal shape, first of all, doesn't he?
Of course, as he would be. You know, he's had that training camp out in Mallorca with Tony Sims, and they're meticulous in what they do. You know, the way that they train, they put in the work, and Conor Benn was always known for that. You know, he's the first kid to go in the gym and the last kid to leave. So we know what sort of shape he's going to be in. We know how emotional he is. We know how much this means to him. He wants victory over the Eubanks. As I said, this is a feud. There's more to this than just this box match. There's pride, egos on the line.
I spoke to Eddie Hearn, who said that he's been almost animalistic in camp. And I've just been up with Tony Sims, and he said, who's in there in the ring with him right now, he could not have done more, and they're just convinced that the way he is in sparring right now, and Tony caveated that by saying, obviously you can't count sparring as what's going to happen on Saturday night, but they believe he will stop Chris Eubank Jr.
Of course they do, and that's what they're meant to believe, you know, because that's what they've trained for. But listen, what we're going to find out on Saturday night is, we know about Chris Eubank Jr. He's competed at a certain level. We know where he's at. Is he slightly on the decline? You know, the 2 fights with Liam Smith, you know, the victory that was so good in that last one, but was Smith injured, you know, in that last fight? The first fight where he got knocked out in four rounds, were the cracks starting to appear? Is he starting to, you know, the durability, is that starting to appear? If it is, then Conor Benn, you know, he's explosive on his way up. He's got a chance, but Chris Eubank Jr. for me will start a big favourite. For all those reasons that I said, he's proven at that level. You know, he's a big guy that can hit at that level as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if Conor can actually deliver at 160.
Well, what Conor Benn did deliver earlier today was a lovely little chat on Drive with Goldstein and Benn. Take a look at this.
Thanks so much for coming on, Conor. Listen, we're both big fans of yours, and we can't wait for this fight to happen. And we've got so many questions for you. But before we talk about the actual fight, one of the questions I'm curious about from your perspective, as a boxer and a fan of boxing, have you ever known a build-up to a fight like this before that doesn't involve a world title?
No, not really. I mean, I've just got my blinkers on. I'm not really focused on anything else apart from fighting. I mean, I just want to get in there Saturday night. You know, as for all the noise in the media and the magnitude of the fight, I still don't think it's really fully sunken in, or I'm choosing to ignore it and focus on getting the job done.
Conor, how's the weight going? Because we know obviously you stepped up 2 weight classes from welterweight. Now you're a middleweight. Do you feel more confident fighting at that weight?
Yeah, I'm always confident because I look at him and he's a man. You know, I don't feel like I look at him and go, you know, jumping up 2 weights, or, you know, ultimately he's a man in my way that I've got to beat, you know, for many reasons. But I'm loving the challenge of jumping up, to be honest. I'm loving walking around at the weight, if not being under the weight. So, yeah, I'm excited for the challenges it's going to present on the night.
I really want to ask you about Chris Eubank Sr. He said that he won't be in his son's corner for the fight. Does that give you any kind of mental advantage going into the fight on Saturday?
Oh, no. You know, I've been asked about this a few times, and I don't feel like it's, you know, my place or anyone's place to talk about Senior and the current situations that have been going on, because it's deeper than this. You know, it's a family feud. It's, you know, one of the biggest British rivalries of all time. Would I love to have seen him there? Would I love to see him in that relationship? Of course I would. You know, because ultimately, boxing aside, this can all go tomorrow. This can all be done. My dad's still my dad. You know, and the relationship I have with my dad is one I wish for them.
I've got to ask you then, Conor, as well, because I think this was first announced, this fight in 2022. It didn't happen. Are you even more determined? And I think I heard a little bit of audio from you in one of the interviews. You said that you felt your dad won that second fight. I know it was a draw, but you said he won it. Does it make you even more determined to go out and win this one?
Yeah, of course. You know, me and my dad have a running joke where it's like, he's left me his dirty laundry and I've got to fix it for him. You know, so we have this joke, it'll be one up because of me, Dad. You know, you never hold that down. But me and my dad have that banter. And yeah, of course, though, on a serious level, it really is one for the family. I mean, aside from, you know, the media and the magnitude of the fight, and everybody gets to enjoy it, it really is for the family.
Conor, listen, I know we only had about 2 or 3 minutes with you this afternoon. I really appreciate your time coming on. We are doing our show live on Friday from the weigh-in, so we would love to spend more time with you. So if you do see us, can we grab you for 5-10 minutes, have a proper sit-down chat with you? Is that all right?
Friday. We'll see how I'm feeling on the Friday. I may be ready to go. I'll have a beware sign on my forehead. Okay. Or do not approach.
Oh, okay. We'll say...
No, of course, okay. No problem.
That's very cool. I was going to say we'll send Ben in rather than me. He can ask that question. Conor, listen, thanks again for your time, pal. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you in a couple of days' time.
Pleasure.
While he's in the ring behind us, he's in the corner there, you can't see him, he's with Tony Sims. I thought he was very generous to Chris Eubank today, saying, I feel for him, my dad's my right-hand man, he's alongside me. I'm having to clean up his dirty washing, he even said, because everyone feels like he won that second fight way back in 1992. But the thing, 93, but the thing is this, he was also generous to Chris Eubank Jr. and said, I wish his dad was there for him. Very interesting.
Let me tell you this. Mind games. He's playing those mind games, as in, he can't get to Chris Eubank Jr. has been phenomenal in this build-up. He's won in every single department. So where does Conor go? How does he do this? Because this is what fighters do at these last couple of days. Psychological battles. And what he's done there, he's gone bang. He's gone straight for the throat and he's gone, I feel for him. He's tried that one, the reverse psychology. You know, he knows that Chris may be sitting there watching that interview. He's trying to play the mind games because Chris has been brilliant in this build-up, he really has, and Conor's pulled that card. That's where I'm at with it.
I'm going to pull you back on Chris later and his father. I've got something I want to pose to you. But earlier on today, Spencer sat down at the media day with many of the fighters. Take a look at this collage.
Well, Lyndon, beginning of fight week, and a huge week we got ahead of us as well. I mean, you looking forward to this?
Of course I am. I did the card alone, you know, and the stadium, my first stadium fight, and it being at Tottenham Stadium with so many thousands of fans, and the card, the magnitude of the card, and the fact that it's a trilogy. I'm excited.
I mean, listen, it's a huge fight in its own right, the main event, but the undercard as well is absolutely exceptional. You get the rubber match,
Yeah.
you and Anthony Yarde, going over old ground. He's
Yeah,
won a
yeah.
piece. Talk to me about this third fight and how it come around.
I just got off. My manager phoned me like, "Yo, do you want the Yarde fight?" And it might be on the Conor Benn Eubank card. And straight away I said, "Yeah, let's get it cracking. Let's go."
I mean, you're coming off that good win against Liam Cameron. The fight before that, Dimitri Bivol, many consider the best in the world.
Yeah.
One of the best pound for pound in the world. How was that experience fighting him? Did you get confidence from that?
In regards to, I took the fight on 3.5, 4 weeks notice. I couldn't really train properly. He was just a carrot dangling in front of me, and it's like, yeah, let's go and take this opportunity. And like I said, I went 12 rounds with him. Never went there to lose, but quite quickly I understood that I probably sparred 2 8-round spars, and I couldn't run for most of the camp. Quite quickly learned that this, it's going to be harder than I thought. But I got to go 12 rounds with, like you say, one of the best pound for pound in the world, and I took great experience from that.
And Anthony Yarde, like I say, you've had 2 with him already.
Yeah.
The first one you won via split decision behind closed doors.
Yeah.
The second one didn't go your way. What went wrong that night, by the way?
Just lack of believing I could get beat, and lack of thinking that I could be hurt at any point in a fight, because it never happened before, and just thought that I would have to turn up, and the training would be enough.
Listen, like I say, you've done some rounds with him now. You've covered a lot of ground with him. What do you do different in this one?
Different. I don't think I have to do much different. It's probably going to sound
What
crazy
the
to
first
everyone
fight
else.
really did. Jab was the dominator in the first fight
exactly.
with you. You seem to
That's what
neglect
I think
a
I need
little bit in that second
a little bit, and I need to bring bits from the first fight, little bits from the second fight, and just put them both together, and I believe I'll be victorious.
Ben Whittaker had a good win over Liam Cameron. He's put his career firmly back on track. What did you think of that performance?
You can't blame Ben for the stoppage. A lot of people probably don't, but I think the stoppage was a little bit early in regards to the fact that the fight was so big, and it was the first punch he got hit with. Liam Cameron's a tough guy. Give him a chance, maybe. I don't know, but fair play to Ben. He went in there, did what he had to do. He can't control the referee.
He's sort of put his name now in the mix with the light heavyweights. You guys are obviously a tier above him right now. You're operating at a higher level, but do you think he can sort of reach those heights? Do you think he's got the potential to do that? Have you ever sparred him before?
Nah, I've not. I think I was supposed to spar him one time. I'm not sure, but it never happened for whatever reasons. Could he reach? We'll see. I'm sure when he gets in there with a harder opponent and gets a bit more rounds, gets into the later rounds, and see if he can still perform like that. But he looks like he can. He's doing everything right.
Listen, Tottenham Stadium. Let me talk about this a little bit. Like, how big a thing is this? Like in your career to date, going and fighting and be fighting in front of 65,000 people.
Obviously, like the Bivol fight was bigger than this, regardless of because of what it is and why.
I mean crowd-wise.
Yeah, crowd-wise. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Like I said, I've always wanted to box in a stadium fight. Old Trafford would have been nice, but we've got Tottenham, and it's an amazing ground.
Yeah.
And like you say, there's going to be thousands of people there. It's going to be a great experience for myself. Like, one to tell the kids when I got older, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Have you been in there for a fight before? Did you?
Yeah, I was there for Fury. Yeah, Fury White. 3 years ago today, I think it was actually. Or yesterday.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Happening's insane.
Mental.
Listen, look, talk to me. Third fight.
Yeah.
How does it go?
At stoppage.
Is that you're that confident? You worked out the game plan.
I'm just confident in myself. I've done everything I needed to do in training. Cut no corners. So that's what I believe.
Brilliant. Listen, before I let you go, I've got to ask you about the top of the bill.
Yeah.
Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn. Conor Benn jumping up in weight.
Yeah.
Is it too much? Is it too much to ask? Do you believe he can do it?
I keep changing my mind. So he can do it. There's definitely a chance he can do it. It's going to be a hard task. Don't know if he can.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel that Eubank at this stage of his career has still got enough, or do you feel there's a slight decline coming? I mean, how do people make these comparisons, right? You got a 147 fighter fighting a guy that's fought 160 as high as 168. There's a lot of talk about this rehydration clause or whatever, but Eubank's been there since 2019, so he does that weight.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
why is
he's
jumping up
boxed
that
at a
much?
higher level. He's boxed at a higher level and stuff like. There's loads of things to take into consideration. He's just. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a good fight, innit? It's gonna be, everyone's looking forward to this fight. Everyone, so
absolutely, and everyone's looking forward to your fight as well. Looking forward to it, man. Great, it's gonna be a great night of boxing. Lyndon, as always, thanks so much.
thank you very much.
I have the pleasure of being with Brandon Glanton ahead of his big fight on Saturday night, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Chris Smith, former champion. Big night for you.
Absolutely, man. It's a huge night. It's the biggest night of my career. Obviously, to Turkey, Team Eubank, Team Nova. Thank you. Without the guys, I wouldn't have been there. So,
listen, you find yourself in this unique situation where you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Big opportunity for you there. And fighters like yourself, I know, wait for that call, wait for that opportunity. You tick over waiting for it, and you get it.
Yeah, hey, listen, I've been doing this since 2017 and working. Obviously, haven't had the opportunities that I wanted, but Billum and along with everybody else I mentioned gave me this opportunity, so I'm eternally grateful.
Now, I know that you was at the fight when Chris Smith won the title against Lawrence Okoli. Was it there? And there was a little thing that happened after that fight that sort of upset you and made you want this fight even more. Is that right?
Yeah, well, it wasn't after. It was at the media workout. Chris was walking back, I guess towards the back, and I saw him coming. I extended my hand, not in any malice, not in no intention of being rude or hurtful, or obviously he knew I was with Team Okoli because, to be fair, I wanted to fight Okoli, but when that fight went up in smoke, I helped him. And, he's a world champion. You don't say no to that kind of sparring. He's always shown me a lot of respect. Billum, unfortunately, walked past me when I extended my hand. And I didn't appreciate that. And as I said earlier, honestly, I think somewhere inside it might have hurt my feelings a little bit. Not in an emotional way, just like, you're a fighter. Obviously, we're all cruiserweights. I extended my hand and you walked past me. So I'm big on respect. Just like it's the same thing with the champion in recess. I put him in recess. I put him in timeout. We go for sparring to help him out. Again, he didn't even pay, but I battered him, cut him, and he didn't want to pay me. So now he's in recess, and we probably, it's just all about respect with me. So
you're talking about that, about the respect, but I know that you're showing him absolutely no respect now. I've seen a lot of the stuff online, and sort of like you talking about him, having a wife and children and all that sort of stuff. You don't have those distractions. You think that's going to play a part in this fight?
Yeah. Listen, make no mistake. I have the utmost respect for Chris. Me telling you how I feel about him is not disrespectful. I'm just telling you the truth. I have the utmost respect for what he's accomplished, for his readiness when he fights, because as we all know, he comes to fight. He comes ready to do his job. I don't have any respect for his character. I don't have any respect for him as a person, as an athlete, as a fighter. He does his job. So that's pretty much where I'm at with that. Forgive me, I didn't the other part of your question.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I just want to move on a little. Actually, I want to talk about your management team, Napa, Chris Eubank Jr. That's how you sort of come around and getting this opportunity. But I remember Napa contacting me and telling me about you and what a danger you was and how you was going to burst onto the scene, and you do get this opportunity.
Sure, that's kind of how they do it, right? You work for years, and then when the lights come, you overnight success. Nova and Team Eubank are the ones who got me this opportunity. They keep saying that Chris don't have an option. It was either fight me or don't fight. So without Nova and Team Eubank, I wouldn't even be here.
How did that relationship come about?
You know what? I was in Dubai and I went for sparring. Off the plane from America. It's a long trip. So I go for sparring, and there's this big black mean looking dude at the table watching me. Cause listen, I was in the gym and I saw a bunch of Russians, and you got to understand from my point of view.
Yeah.
I'm coming from Dubai. I've heard rumors of him being there. He lives there or whatever. He comes and goes. And I see this big, massive black guy, and I'm sparring, and he's just sitting at the table like, and I'm like, who the? So, and I told my coach, listen, I said, if he comes over here, I'm gonna hit him first. Like, yeah, but then, when I finally spoke to him, it was nice, and in his accent, I said, "This guy's friendly." Yo, I had no idea. It's just he was intense,
Yeah.
and I never thought that anybody was there watching me, observing me. I just thought, hey, I'm here to spar and beat this guy up, and I did a lot of damage to the guy, thinking this guy would leave me alone, but he's still watching. I'm like, what in the world? It never occurred to me that there was any interest there, so. Yeah, being the friendly is one of the best
And
decisions I've made.
that's how the relationship blossomed.
Yeah. No, I told him. Yeah.
That's a great story. Listen, let's move on to the main event
Sure.
on Saturday night, because I know that you're close with Chris. He's going in against Conor Benn. Give me a prediction on that one. How does that one go? Can the smaller man come up and give him any sort of fight?
You know what? Yeah, it could happen. I give these heavyweights the fits. So yeah, smaller man, it can happen, but I don't think Conor Benn is that smaller man. And I personally been in there with Chris. I know how he can punch. I know how he puts them together. There's no disrespect to Conor. And I know a lot of people might say, oh, well, it's because he's Team Eubank. That part too. But it's boxing. It's weight class for a reason. Eubank has too much experience. So it's not going to happen.
You've been to stadiums now because you saw the Okoli and Chris Smith fight at the Vitality Stadium. That was 15,000 people.
Sure.
You're going to be coming out to like 65,000 people. You know what the British fans are like. You know they're loud.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to just soaking all that up? Have you prepared yourself for all that?
Hey, you know what? That Vitality Stadium, man, that was awesome. I loved it. This is gonna be even bigger. My pleasure to do it. It's an experience, it's all a learning lesson.
Have you been to the stadium yet?
I didn't go.
You're gonna love it, man.
I decided not to. I didn't want to take a chance of catching a cold, but I'm looking forward to it, to learning and experiencing that.
You not appreciating our weather here?
No, I'm not. No, it's so back and forth. I didn't even know how to dress. Like I'm go outside in running shorts, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right, we're not doing that today. So, but other than that, man, I love London. It's good, and I'm looking forward to the fans embracing me.
Brilliant, Brandon. It's always a pleasure, mate. Look, do me a big favor. Look down that camera and give CBS Chris Smith a message.
Hey, don't blink. Like I told you earlier, embrace your wife, embrace your child. This is your last run. I'm gonna pray for you before and after the fight, but between the bells, that's between you and God.
Well, and fight week, we go again, and an opponent you know very well, Lyndon Arthur, one apiece, and you get to do it for the third and possibly the final time.
It's exciting times. For me, it's more of just being on the show, getting an opportunity to perform, be exciting, and have this build up. And I don't know. I feel like I just like fighting.
Listen, mate, you've been in some of the biggest fights, and we've seen you. We've seen you in those. BF was an incredible fight that we saw you in. You get the opportunity now to fight at a stadium, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I know it's not ideal for you being an Arsenal fan, but being an Arsenal fan, it's
I'm happy.
Yeah, you're happy with that. Yeah, you're happy with that. You want all the fans in there, don't you? Yeah, 65,000. I mean, talk to me about that experience. What it's like. Did you ever realize you was ever going to get there? Limited amateur experience. Like you turn pro in 2015, and boom, look at us now going into stadiums.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's a bit crazy, but I did, in my head, I always like envisioned that I will, fight on these big shows or be on stadiums, be fighting in stadiums, etc. It's not the first stadium I fought in. I fought in the AT&T Stadium in Texas on the Canelo undercard, but this one, again, it's home turf. It's it's London, and it's gonna be packed out. When I think there was like 23 people in the arena. So it's my 8th fight, but this one's a little bit different, a bit more special.
It really is. It's a serious card. You look down at, you don't rarely do you get cards with 5 fights on.
Yeah.
But the 5 class fights, that people want to beat. That stadium will be packed early, And you look at it and you just go, look, Lyndon Arthur's the opponent. The first one was unusual circumstances behind closed doors. You had a lot of personal problems going into that fight as well. He got the win, split decision. You dominated the second fight. So how do we get the third one when it was so conclusive, that second fight?
I think it came from when I mentioned his name on talkSPORT. When I was trying to figure out this whole thing with Buatsi, Callum Smith, and who my next opponent could be. And then I said, in the meantime, I said I could have a tune-up fight against Lyndon Arthur. And then he bit back, he said something, and then it gained a bit of interest again. Because people were calling for, I think his fans were calling for a rematch after the second fight. But again, it just manifested into what it is now. I'm happy, because again now, even after the second fight, I still feel like there was more. There was unfinished business. Because he got up and the referee waved it off. And I was still heated. I was still ready to go. So yeah, I don't know.
He said exactly the same thing, funny enough. I spoke to him and he said the same thing, unfinished business. Don't read too much into that second fight. Don't read too much into the first fight because of the circumstances. It's like we don't know each other. We're going in there. We don't know what's going on. He feels like he's in a good position. It's an important time for both of you guys at this stage of your career, right? It's a sort of must-win fight to get yourself up there with the bigger names.
Of course. You know what? For me, I don't know. Maybe this is my mentality. It's always a must-win fight. Always, because depending on your ambition or what you want, it's always a must-win fight. If I fight for a world title, and I don't win, people are like, what's next for you? You fight you're meant to win. You win, but you don't look good. People are like, like, what's next for you? So for me, all that matters is getting the win.
But at this stage, with what's going on in the landscape of the light heavyweights right now, especially in Britain, with a Buatsi, the fight that we've wanted to see with you for a long, long time. You've got Callum Smith there as well. That's the importance of winning this one, because there's big fights off the back of that. David Benavidez on the world stage as well. He's there. Ramirez is around. There's loads of big names for you, big fights for you.
I feel
so winning is important at this stage.
It's always important.
Yeah, I get that. But
I wouldn't be at this stage if I wasn't winning.
I get that. But you boxed for the world title. You had that a couple of times. Kovalev was one of those ones that inexperienced lost you the fight. Nothing else. You had that fight won. Inexperienced lost you it. Then you go in against one of the pound for pound best, the monsters of the division, Better Be Ever. You go, right, you're now 33 years of age, been a pro since 2015. You're looking at it and you're going, it's sort of must win now, because that rebuilding process just takes time. But what I'm saying is you're one fight away from a massive fight.
Yeah, but it's just mentality. My mentality is I'm always one fight away from a massive fight. That's just my mentality. That's been my mentality from my turn professional. I have to win this fight in order to progress, and that's just my mentality. So I think that's why I don't get nervous, because it's always the same thing for me. It don't matter about the occasion. It don't matter about what's next. I never look at what's next. That's just the reality of it. My reality is dominating this fight. Being the best version of myself.
How's this fight played out in your head? How's it gonna go?
We'll wait and see. I'm not a person with the magic global where I can predict the future. But what I do know is I've prepared well, and it's exciting times for Saturday.
Talk to me a little bit about the top of the bill as well. Chris Eubank Jr, Conor Benn, the history between them two. With their fathers. How do you see that one, guys?
Do you know what? Again, this is just me being respectful. I just want both of them to have a good account of themselves. I want them both to lead the fight safe, and for them to both be in a position where they can, go and have another massive fight. That's all.
Do you think that we get that fight again? Do you think we get the return? It's one of those fights.
Or that, yeah. I think we probably will get the rematch if they both give a good account of themselves. Absolutely, everyone's gonna want to see it again. It's going to be a build up, probably a bigger fight. Second fight.
You thought about that atmosphere in there, by the way. Like that stadium is built. It's like it's built for boxing.
Yes,
Tottenham Stadium. It's like it's insane. Have you sort of been going over all that?
Yes and no.
Are you one of them guys? No.
You know what it is? I try not to. I try to think as least about the occasion as I can, and I feel like that's how you limit your surprises, or you limit your disappointment. So I literally do my job in the ring. I think about probably the training session I'm gonna have today more than I'm thinking about the fight. It's just one thing at a time. You know, I try not to look too far forward because you're trying to predict how things are gonna go. For me, it's just one thing at a time.
Before I let you go, I've got to talk about another light heavyweight, a guy that just got his career back on track after the controversy of that first fight, Liam Cameron, Ben Whittaker. Whittaker put in a good performance. He went out there teaming up with Andy Lee. Seemed to be a good job for him. He went out there and put in a good performance. What did you make of it?
Put my hands up. Didn't watch it. I wanted to. No, stop. I wanted to watch the fight. And I blamed Tunde Ajayi, I blamed Joel, Kodwa, I blamed everyone in the gym because I said to these lot, but remind me about the fight. I got my fight coming, so I want to be you're distracted. Yeah. I'm gonna be distracted. Then I'm seeing the fights happen, and it was on a Sunday, no?
Yeah.
So like I'm not thinking the boxing match is gonna be on a Sunday. So now I've got it on Instagram, and I'm like, this is what I'm trying to say.
So
and I wanted to watch.
So let's get this right. So you've had to miss your Easter eggs and you missed the fight. So it ain't been good Easter for you, is it?
Easter eggs. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't really miss Easter eggs this time. Yeah. Chocolate's a chocolate, isn't it? No matter what shape it is. No matter what shape it is.
Well, listen. On that note, wicked, mate. Thanks so much.
Love, probably.
Well, Aaron McKenna only days away from the big fight Saturday night, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Biggest fight actually of your life against a former world champion in Liam Smith. What an opportunity.
Yeah, I've realised now what an opportunity it is, and I want to make the most of it. I've got a good guy, Liam Smith, in front of me, former world champion. Been in with a lot of good guys, Canelo, Munguia, knocked out Chris Eubank. So I realise what this would do for my career, and I want to make the most of it.
I mean, Mick Hennessy, you're your manager and a guy that looks after you, has taken the calculated gamble on taking Liam Smith at this stage of his career, shows the confidence in your ability. I know you're 19-0 now, 10 KOs, but this is a whole new level, right?
Yeah, this will be the best opponent I've had yet. And every time I've had a step up, I've came through it quite easily. So this is a good test for me, I think, at this stage of my career. And it's a fight I think I've needed for a couple of years, one that I've wanted. Anytime I've had the chance to get a big fight for, people to respect me, and when it hasn't happened, people have pulled out, or the tournament that I was in, prize fighter, got cancelled. So I think this is an amazing opportunity to really do it.
How do you control those emotions in front of 65,000 people? Because the stadium's going to be packed. How do you control those emotions? Some fighters feed off it. How will you control them?
Yeah, well, I just use it, for the ring. It'll bring the best out of me. I know it will. 65,000 people, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's going to be rocking, and I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. There's a lot of Irish fans travelling over as well. A lot of people from America as well. So there'll be a lot of Irish there to support me, and it's going to be some fight. I think it's going to steal the show.
Listen, if you come through this victorious on Saturday night, you're setting yourself up for some huge fights. We've got the top of the bill there. You've got Chris Eubank Jr. You've got Conor Benn there competing at 160 as well. So it's a huge opportunity for you to come through this one.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely realised too that winning this fight, not only winning it, but I have to, I think, win it in style too, to really catch a lot of attention, that it does set up big fights like that. Right now, I'm just fully focused on Liam Smith, but yeah, I do realise there would be a world title there, or the winner of Eubank and Benn.
Tell me a little bit about your training. I know that you've been training in a top-ranked gym. You train over in the States. Talk to us a little bit about that. How's the sparring gone? Big names you've been sparring with?
Yeah, well, training always goes good for me. I always train hard. I don't like to take the foot off the gas, and I'm always ready no matter the time of the year. But for this one, I had a really good 5 weeks in Las Vegas, sparring with Bomax fighters. He had a good bunch of fighters there, all of them top 10 in the world. So I was getting good rounds with them. and they were very similar styles to Liam Smith. But I think this camp's went really good so far, and I know we'll be ready for this test.
Do you ever spar your brother?
Yeah, all the time, yeah.
See his smile on his face, look.
Me and
Yeah.
Stephen, yeah, we've been sparring since we were 8 years old. And, you know, early on in our career, you know, it would have got feisty and, you know, it needed been calmed down by your father. But this last, you know, few years, we know what styles, you know, to do with each other. We learn off each other, and it's been great work, you know, that we're similar weights too.
Yeah, I used to spar with my brother. My brother was a former pro as well, and I employed him actually as a sparring partner for one of my European title fights. And people that think sparring your brother, it's going to be technical and it's going to be all nice and easy, it doesn't work that way, does it? Sparring. You have your full out spars as well.
Yeah, well, when it's needed, we'd have full out spars, you know, but it's more so technical now. We work very well with each other, but we're also competitive too, so we have to have that competitive edge with each other in there. But it's more control spar now with each other, but we bring the best out in each other.
Listen, you said about sparring Bomax fighters. Which one of those fighters was you sparring, and which fighters were you sparring?
Yeah, well, Lester Martinez, Troy Isley was the main two I was sparring, and they're probably going to be Crawford sparring partners for Canelo. So they're two guys in the top 10 in the world. Lester's 18-0 or 19-0 with 17 knockouts, so he's a very strong super middleweight guy, and it was great preparation for me. And yeah, Bomax's a great guy. I sparred with Crawford last summer, and Crawford was very impressed with me. You know, after the spar, him and Bomax, they came up to me and said how impressed they were with me. And in between the rounds, then when I was sparring Bomax guys, Crawford came in between, giving me advice and you know, do this, do that, and it was great to hear them sort of words from a guy like Terence Crawford.
Absolutely, you can't buy that, you know, and to have that gives you a boost as a fighter, right? Gives you a lift as a fighter. Let's talk about the quick top of the bill just quickly. Who do you think wins that fight?
I think early on, you know, Conor Benn, I think he does have to come out early and make it a fast-paced fight. Chris is the naturally bigger guy. Conor's probably a natural super welterweight, 154. If his punches can have a dent on Conor or in Chris, I think he'll do well, but it all depends. First 4 to 5 rounds. If it doesn't have a dent, then Chris Eubank will take over, I think.
If you had those conversations with Mick yet about what's the reward for you if you come through this fight, you know, what potentially could be next in line, have you had those conversations?
Well, I had the chance to fight Johnny Beck, you know, in Kazakhstan for the world title. And these two offers came along at the same time, and I said yes straight away to both of them. I was preparing for both, you know, had Southpaw sparring and all already, and I think in the end, yeah, we chose the right one, considering how big of an event this is. This is going to get a lot of eyes on me. This, you know, in a 60,000-70,000 stadium, a lot of eyes watching it across the world, and a huge event. But after this fight, it's still going to be there. So
yeah,
I think this one's going to do a lot better for my career.
Absolutely. Listen, huge opportunity for you. Just look down the camera and give Liam Smith a little message on what he's expecting on Saturday night.
Yeah, just from the first bell, you don't have to come looking for me. I know I won't have to come looking for you. 2 aggressive styles, and who's going to take the first step back?
Brilliant. Aaron.
All right, thank you.
Best of luck, mate.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Well, great to be joined by Viddal Riley. Viddal, great to see you, my friend, as always. And what a week for you. I mean, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Huge Tottenham Hotspur fan anyway. It must be like a childhood dream for you to be fighting there on Saturday.
No, for sure, man. It's something that was on the bucket list. I didn't know when it would be ticked off, how long it would take, but it comes sooner than I thought. But for the opportunity to win the British title, Tottenham Stadium, yeah, man, destiny.
Absolutely. Listen, I mean, look, I suppose when you had those dreams and those aspirations, it was about you topping the bill there. But when you look at the card here and the history between that top of the bill with Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, and, you know, the feud that goes back 30 years with their fathers, I mean, it's a special night to be involved in.
Definitely, man. I mean, it could have been any, like I say, it could have been any main event. All the undercard fights could be main events on any given day, and I'm a part of it. It's only 5 fights, you know, 5-fight card. So to be on there, it's special, man. It's special, but I just want the performance to be as special as the opportunity.
Well, listen, like this really is a coming of age fight for you. I know you've had good wins over former British champions like Mikhail Lawal, but now you're really stepping up against a guy who narrowly, I thought very unluckily, lost for the European title in his last fight. Split decision.
Unlucky.
Chevron Clark, tough guy, heavy-handed. Stylistically, you could have the opportunity to steal the night here, you two.
Yeah. He's he's explosive. He's experienced. He's been in there with good opponents. Challenge for the European, is the British champion. Like, I'm aware of what's in front of me. I'm definitely aware of what's in front of me, but I still don't think it's nothing I can't surpass.
Did you ever box as amateurs?
No, I never boxed as amateur.
You must have gone through. Was you on the same GB squad all the time?
Yeah, like literally, we boxed in the same ABAs. So the same ABAs where I fought Chris Smith, Chev was in the same ABAs. I lost in the semi-final, and he won it that year.
Right.
So yeah, and he was pretty much the age that I am now, which is crazy to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so getting your opportunity, like I say, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, British title, that's a meaningful title as well, and a great stepping stone onto bigger and better things. I mean, you're in a sexy weight division right now. The cruiserweights historically sometimes never had the depth of character in there, but right now it's a solid division.
It's a good division, man, from domestic all the way up. Obviously, I only can focus on Chev at this moment.
Yeah.
But I know that there's prospects for good fights. There's good fights that can be made, big fights that can be made, but all of them won't be made unless I attack Chev.
I know you had a great amateur career. I know you've done the whole West Ham thing and all of that, and you went through that, and you built those foundations and that development. You're now in 12 in as a pro. It's your 13th. Do you feel now it's time to go? Like, you come over Chev. It was a tough fight on Saturday night. You get through that. Like, is that then time for you, Viddal Riley, to kick on?
Yeah, for sure. This fight definitely propels me into a different section. I've had a good career so far. I built it gradually. Now we've been given an opportunity where it's a big stage, millions of people watching around the world. Let's see what you got. Can you showcase? And I truly can, and I will. I don't have any doubt about it.
Listen, you delve into a few other things. I know you do a lot of rapping, and you're a big supporter of this stadium as well. What sort of people are going to come? Because I know you've got a big social media following as well. How many tickets have we sold for this? Is it going to be big?
Listen, it's going to be a good number. I can't tell you exactly how many, but how many people from the hometown?
Yeah.
They will be there, man, because they can't believe there's an opportunity to see me fight. Normally, I'm in Liverpool, I'm in Manchester, or even if I'm in Wembley, it's still London, but it's not a home. Do you know what I mean? This is literally on the doorstep. So I'm going to see, well, I won't see them, but I know the familiar faces will be there.
65,000 going to be in there. It's going to be packed for every one of those fights because, as you say there, you're looking at the depth of the volume of that card, 50-50 fights. You must have, I know I used to anyway, been in build up in that last week in the fight. You lie there and you think about how the fight can go, what way it can go and everything else. But there must be, say, extra special for you going 65,000 people, my chance to shine. You must have run over it a few times in your head. How's that gone?
Yes, I'm gonna sound so lame, but I haven't, Like, I don't. I'm looking forward to looking at that stuff after the fight.
But nothing goes through your head before it, no?
No, you know what? After fighting Mikhail Lawal, I stopped kind of
overthinking
to project what's gonna happen. I didn't know I was gonna break my ribs. You know what I mean? I had a whole camp, had a whole game plan, and then within round one, bang, you got 3 broken ribs, and then you're more shocked because you thought you was gonna do something else. Like, I know what Chev brings, like an idea. We know his style, and I'm just willing to be water and adapt to it. I'm not thinking about how many people out there, or because if you think there's 65,000 people out there, and you get out there and you see a sprinkle of 10, you don't have time to be underwhelmed. Deprived. So I really just keeping an open mind, man. That fight taught me that.
Listen, I think 65,000 people can either make or break a fight. They can either freeze or thrive off it. So
you have no choice but to thrive, Spence.
Yeah, great, absolutely. Listen, you've done your preparation, you've done your apprenticeship, you've gone through the broken ribs, you've got through that fight. Now is your time, and we wish you the best of luck on Saturday, mate. It's going to be a huge night for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, man, it's gonna have a potential fight of the year, man.
There you
between
go.
me and Chev for
There you
sure,
go.
But I will be British champion.
Fantastic interviews there, Spence. We'll come back to that in a minute. Conor Benn started hitting the pads with Tony Sims. Let's take a little look. What are you seeing here?
I'm seeing a kid that's going to be explosive. He's going to start fast because I think that's exactly what he's got to do. He's got to go there. He's got to stamp his authority early. He's got to gain Chris's respect.
Educated.
Of course
Pressure.
he's educated, because I'll tell you one shot, and I'm going to say it now, the one shot that Chris Eubank Jr. throws so well is that right uppercut. Conor Benn's got to be careful he doesn't come in square, because if we watch him on the pads there, he has a tendency to step over with his back foot and come in square. Eubank will be watching that, so it's got to be educated pressure, but it's got to be explosive, and he's got to let Eubank know he's got the power to hurt him early.
It's funny you say that, because I remember talking to Jonathan Banks in Riyadh when he fought Kamil Zaramata about getting Eubank working on that uppercut again, which he forgot for a couple of fights. So let's just come back into focus. What stood out for you at the media day today with Brandon Glanton, Aaron McKenna, Liam Smith, Lyndon Arthur, Anthony Yarde? What stood out for you?
I think the standout for me was Brandon Glanton. You know, he's a guy that's only lost a couple of times. He lost both of those fights on split decision. One to David Light, and you look at that, David Light lost to Lawrence Okoli, and you see, and you look at Glanton, and you see the improvements that he's made. He's a strong kid, very, very strong, and stylistically, him, Chris Billam-Smith, is going to be an absolute barnstormer, because Glanton says, listen, I've come for this. He's been feeding Chris a lot of problems. He brought Chris's family into it. He's been making it personal, you know, and he knows
4 and 5
he knows,
for the WBC this
absolutely,
is as well, isn't it?
very, very heavy-handed. Throws a good left hook to the body as well. But like I say, there was something about him. I sort of, you know, I gravitated towards him. He's got a very infectious personality around him, and I liked him a lot, and I'm looking forward to that fight.
Don't forget to screen through, if you're watching this, screen through all the interviews we've been doing this week. Many of the fighters on our podcast and on our YouTube channel. It's replete with content. We're killing ourselves to give you content this week for this enormous fight. Conor Benn leaning over the ropes there, enjoying the media attention, doing a little bit of posing. I think he looks phenomenal, quite scary. There's an intensity about him that, can I say this? Over the last 2 days, I see, even though I've picked Eubank to win, I see one guy that wants it more than the other, and that's that fella there right now.
You got two
Is
guys.
that fair?
Well, listen, because you got two guys, one that shows off a lot of emotion and one that doesn't show off anything, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. Like, we find out who wants it the most on Saturday night, but one thing I do know, Eubank is a proud man, as is Conor Benn, and the history is steeped with those families, and so trust me, none of them's going to want to lose. You know, Eubank is going to want to keep that undefeated record for the Eubanks, but Conor Benn is desperate to get it.
But it's so big for Conor Benn, because if he wins this, he goes stratospheric. Eubank loses it, sayonara, fella. Sayonara. There's nowhere to go. There's no Canelo fight afterwards. There's no Hamza Shiraz fight. That's the end. Up next, Chris Eubank is joining us here in the Pelagon, in the ring, showing his wares. It's only going to be Dr. Dre. It's only going to be the OGs. He's a cool dude, is Chris Eubank Jr. He's like his dad, cool, calm, calculated. This is the perfect music for him, isn't it?
Absolutely. Great ring walk music for sure. I don't think we're going to see too much from him, if I'm totally honest. I think he's in fight mode right now. I think that he's switched on. He doesn't want to really give too much away. He's just all about now getting there to fight night. The hard work's been done for Chris Eubank.
He's got a massive coat on, by the way. Yeah, it's boiling and it's about 24 degrees in here. You know, you wonder why I'm wearing a waistcoat and a big jacket. Look at Spencer stripped off, the muscular Oliver stripped off. We're waiting for Chris to climb into the ring. He'll take his time. This is a man who will not be rushed. This is a man who does things with his own air. This is a man who acts like he's the A-side.
this is a man that has done things on his own time through this whole build-up. You know, he's not done anything that he didn't want to do. That's what Chris is all about. I think he's been fantastic in this build-up. You know, right through to every press conference, every interview. He's done it on his terms, his way, and he's going to do that right up to fight night.
But he's got it all to lose because he is the guy that can't afford to lose. His father drew one and won one. His father's labelled him a disgrace. His father's not even around the events. He's copying parliamentary procedure. But you can't write off Chris Eubank in this fight. He's got all the advantages. He's fought at a higher level. You've said it already tonight. He's got a more cultured resume. He's the bigger guy by 20 pounds when they step in there. And he knows the family of one already against Ben.
Absolutely. Listen, Chris Eubank Jr. has that DNA. You know how tough his father was. You know how strong mentally his father was. Eubank has that in his DNA. And that's what you'll see there. This guy wants to win and wants to win bad. You know, with everything that's gone on, 2.5 years ago when that fight was cancelled at the last moment, this guy has always wanted to get this fight back on.
We're slightly blocked by the cameraman here at the moment, so we can't see him in the centre of the ring. We'll move apart and let Romario Webster, our camera expert, fill in the dots in a minute when he starts to move around in the ring. He's obviously going to work in the corner with, I believe is Jonathan Banks there? Not sure, but we'll see him in a minute. We've got the view blocked, but no one's blocking our view of you and your view of us right now. He's a special character. I still have him as favourite. I've never budged over it. I do think Ben's dangerous, but I just think if Eubank's on his game, he'll be too much for Ben.
Absolutely. If Eubank's on his game, if he's not on, you know, that slight decline and he's on his game, he's way too much for Ben. You know, he's too smart. He'll allow Ben to come on. He'll catch him with the uppercuts, and it'll be a one-sided fight. But like we say, you know, we're going.
Who's
off
won the build-up so far?
Oh, it's not even a competition. It's not even a conversation.
Go on.
Sorry, it's not even a conversation. It's like it's Chris Eubank Jr. all day long. I mean, he's beat everyone in every department. The guy has been meticulous in what he says and what he does. You know, the way he's presented himself. It's been first class. You can't say that.
What also, I think people say he's never made it at the top level. Tony Bellew ran him down the other day in a way on White and Jordan, saying he's lost 3 fights against people who've become world champions. He's still got a very, very good resume.
Mate, but you can say that about Chris Eubank Jr. that he's never won at world level. Well, Conor Benn's never won at British level. If you want to talk about that, the kid's never won a British title.
Yeah.
So you go, let's put it into perspective. Of course, teams are going to say certain things, but you go, you can't look at their 2 resumes and say that Chris Eubank Jr. has not competed at a higher level than Conor Benn.
All right, so answer this one then, and I'm going to answer it. My question first: is there a guy in British boxing right now who's a bigger name and prize fighter, showman and celebrity outside the heavyweight division than Chris Eubank?
Absolutely not.
There you go.
Absolutely not. You know,
he's box office, isn't he?
Absolutely, of course he is. You know, people love
Let's
him.
take a look at him. Look at him, dancing box office right now, letting the shoulders go. I'm doing it. It's infectious. It's catching. He's enjoying the dance right now. And also, technically, who's the better boxer? Eubank or Ben? It's a hard call, isn't it?
Totally different styles.
Yeah.
Eubank is more calculated. He thinks about what he does a little bit more. Conor Benn's more explosive. He fights with his heart on his sleeve. You know, and those emotions come into play, but sometimes emotions can come too into play. So what I'm going to say is that
he's disappeared to the corner post again.
65,000 people, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the emotions of Conor Benn, you know, boxing a fight of this magnitude. You look at that and you say, will those emotions take over? Will he get carried away with that? Because Chris is cool as a cucumber. Chris will hold his ground, he'll wait, and he'll let Conor make those
low
fundamental
resting
mistakes.
heart rate, all of that.
And that's why I'm talking about, you know, who wins a fight and how a fight wins. That's why I go quite convincingly with Chris Eubank Jr. because I just think his mindset, his approach to the game, his size, his boxing IQ, all of it at the moment is better than Conor Benn's.
I've got to say as well, we're here at the Pelican. It's got a really big fight feel. We've been in a lot of big fights over many years, and it feels as big as anything. Fatal Fury of the City of the Wolves, isn't it? Something like that. That's the name. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, sponsored by Ring Magazine. It's really big. You just know it is. You get a sense for these things. There's a barometer inside us. We've got people coming back and forth. They are very welcome. You saw Brendan Lyons just now and his security team keeping an eye on these guys. Brendan Lyons, Tyson Fury's bodyguard, and the guys that make sure that they don't kick off. I kind of wanted to see a bit of kick off between them. I know we had the smashed egg. I wanted a little bit of drama this week.
It's done. And the drama was early. You've had the smashing in the face with the eggs, and we've seen the interviews and the going back and forths and them getting pulled apart. That's all done now, Gareth. They're in fight mode. They know the reality is kicked in for both of those. Like, the reality is here. They know what they're going into. They're going into a war. Look at the first fight between their old men back in 1990. I mean,
here's
what they're
Eubank.
prepared
Yeah,
to do.
absolutely. No, you're absolutely spot on. So here's Eubank on the gloves now with Jonathan Banks. Jonathan Banks that worked with Vladimir Klitschko, Emmanuel Stewart years ago. He's a very nuts and bolts figure. Been with Eubank for a little while now. Was with him for Kamil Zaramata in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Chris looking short, sharp punches. Looking maybe, I want to see that right uppercut, by the way.
Listen, the short work's always going to work for Chris, because as Conor comes in, that's where he's going to be very effective. Conor's going to want to close that ground, get inside that. But Chris has an underrated jab, by the way, and that could be a very effective weapon in this fight, because Conor can't get past that jab. He's got big problems.
Little pop to the body and a 1-2-3 from Chris Eubank, double jab. How much, Spence, you as the boxer, how much can we read into what he's showing right now?
He's showing us nothing right now. He's just going through the motions.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't read into anything. Listen, he's not going to give off anything. He's that guy. He's smart.
Looks very lean.
Absolutely, yeah. Listen, this is just going through the motions now and giving the public the verse view of it, getting the public excited about this big fight that's coming up. But you're not going to read too much into what he's doing here, because he's not going to give any game plan away.
Absolutely packed gallery here. All eyes on Chris Eubank right now in the ring with Jonathan Banks. Absolutely replete with media cameras all around the ring watching his every movement. Lovely light on his feet stuff. He needs to be light on his feet early, by the way.
Yeah, listen, he's going to be prepared. Look, this could go one of two ways. He's talked about letting Conor come onto him and Conor being the aggressor, the bull, and he's going to be the matador, and he's just going to take him to school. But don't be surprised if Eubank goes out there and meets him early.
Yeah,
lets him feel the weight. Let him feel the weight and the strength of him, because he's the naturally bigger guy.
Let's just come in here a minute, Spence. I want to finish off today. I want to throw this at you. We had Conor Benn saying about Chris Eubank that he's sad that Chris Sr. is not here in the corner, in the ring, in the camp at the fight on Saturday night. Let me throw this at you. Is it maybe an advantage to Junior that his dad isn't here, because he'd be taking the limelight, stealing the headlines? Maybe it's less pressure, his dad not being here?
Listen,
what do you think?
In an ideal world, he would love his dad. He would love his dad to be a part of this. But
Are you sure?
Yeah, he would. But let me finish. The reason that his dad is not here is because he wanted to do it on his terms, Junior. He said, "You got to take a back seat now, Dad." And his dad wasn't willing to do that, and that has been the big problem. That it's a fractured relationship that goes back. And Gareth, the family, what they've been through in recent times, and the loss of his brother affected the dad really badly. One thing after another. And he's saying, "Dad, I want you to be a part of it, but you need to take a back seat." And Senior wasn't willing to do that. So
right.
I understand for Junior, it's all business. And he's got that. He'll be all right. He'll be switched off.
I think it's less pressure on him with his dad not being here, believe it or not. Much as, like you say, you want that scaffolding around you. It's someone you love. I know how close you were and are to your uncles, your father, and those characters around you. But I think, given the personality of his dad, I think there's less pressure on him. I really do.
Absolutely, because it was he couldn't be the senior show. You know, this is the sons now are carving out their own careers, their own legacies. You know, and the dads have to take that back seat. And I think that senior was maybe a little bit too forward and up front, and there's less of a distraction for junior to get out there. Jonathan Banks, great trainer, he's got a great team around him. Let him focus on the job in hand, because it's going to be brutal, this fight, one way or another. Whatever happens, because of how much both of these guys need to win. Chaos creates opportunity, but it'll also be very, very brutal.
For me, Eubank's got to use simplicity, power and perspicacity. Just keep it simple out there. He's the bigger guy. Listen, I hope you enjoyed today as he goes, listen, from my friends and my colleague Spencer Oliver and myself. We're going to disappear into the night now. Chris Eubank is doing his thing on the pads with Jonathan Banks. We're going to leave you with him, and we will return to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where they had the second press conference, obviously, a month ago. Tomorrow, for the Fight Week press conference, we'll be there. I think Driver there as well. Driver there on Friday, but we'll be there all afternoon. Interviews, insights, craziness, happiness.
Do you want to wrap this up, mate? Or
No, I don't want to end. Let's leave it with Mr. Eubank.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.